Go on YouTube, this is 3zinferno, so I'm here to talk to you guys today about Yu-Gi-Oh! Psychology 101. Now, if you guys haven't realized, psychology plays a really important role in dueling. Here are some examples. So if I set Solemn Judgment in Heavy Storm, and my opponent activates Heavy Storm, and I Solemn Judgment it. Now, that may be pretty risky, paying 4,000 life points for that Solemn Judgment, but it really, if it works, it really hits hard, because what your opponent will do is like, what is that back row? It could be like a warning or something like that, and it might make your opponent do something that they normally wouldn't do, like set a monster on their first turn instead of summoning a monster like a Thunder King, and that could really open it up for you. Because look, and then if they summon Thunder King instead, or instead of summoning Thunder King, they set a monster like a Tsang, and then set 3 back row. Like, go ahead, and then you go draw Flip Storm, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, they got mind fucked really hard. And that's, sort of part of the game. It's really important to mess with your opponent, because throw them off balance, because you never want to become predictable, that's why it's really important to like mess with your opponent. Another way, here's another example. My opponent had BLS on the field, and I top deck a rabbit, and I had 2 back rows that were not very useful, or I had 2 back rows in my hand that weren't useful, like a Trap Dust Shoot and a Heavy Storm. So I go rabbit, for a Dolka, set both back rows, and then he goes, he draws into 1 card in hand, only BLS on the field. He's like, I can't attack, because we're both at somewhat low life points. He's like, if I attack, I'm going to lose. And I get deprison, I'm going to lose. So he goes, pass. And this really messes with people's minds, because I made a Dolka, so he can't banish it, but if he attacks into a deprison, he's done. And it's like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know what to do. And it really messes with my opponent's mind, so that, in fact, I stalled that out for like 5 turns until I finally drew something to get out of it. And then it was too late for the other guy. So, it's really important sometimes to trick your opponent into doing something that you want them to do. Like, another way, I've done this before. Here's another example. My opponent tries to make, is probably thinking to make a Scrap Dragon, which would win him the game. But I'm like, Stardust Dragon, right? I'm like, and then I'm like counting, he's like 8 stars in the field, like, oh damn, Stardust Dragon is bad. And then he was like, and then because I said Stardust Dragon, he was sort of like, oh yeah, Stardust Dragon. And he summons Stardust Dragon and attacks, and then I deprison him. And it's like, that won me the game. So like, it's really important when you try to mess with your opponent, mess with your opponent's mind. You're not trying to cheat. It's not really cheating. You're just trying to influence them to think in a way that you want them to, which is really cool. Because you're sort of hinting that they should do something, but in reality, that's the wrong play. They should not be doing it. Another few tricks you can do is, here's another trick I like. You can bluff a Trap Dust Shoot. So you have let's say you have 4 cards in hand, and they draw into 4 cards in hand. You ask, do you call priority on activating any cards in the draw phase? And then they're looking at you like, shit, he might have Trap Dust Shoot, and then he might be like, discard Maxi, or randomly space something instead of setting it. Because setting a space sometimes hurts more if you don't have a space set, because you might want to blow their back row, and then they'll chain space, and you traded 2 cards for their 1 MST. So sometimes you want to bait out an MST, so then or discard a Maxi or something like that. So you go, do you have a response? And then they go like, space randomly, so they don't get dust shoot. In reality, it wasn't a dust shoot. And then, let's say, taking that situation further, that bluff Trap Dust Shoot, let's say it was a Torrential Tribute or a Mirror Force. So now your opponent's like, I know one of his cards, it's a Trap Dust Shoot. So then they walk into a Mirror Force or a Torrential when they thought it was a Trap Dust Shoot, and then you mess with their head, really badly. So they're just subtle things that you can do in the game that you can trick your opponents into thinking you have something when really you don't have anything. And or having them call which one attacks first, and then they might attack and you don't have Gores, but you're bluffing in Gores, so that's possible too. So it's just really important to try and trick your opponent into doing things that they normally wouldn't do, or so that for you to gain advantage. And psychology is a really important part of like the game, and part of a lot of things. So just always try and take advantage of it. And below, let me know what you guys think. How you guys would use psychology to trick your opponent into doing something that they're not supposed to do or wouldn't do. All right, so just share with everybody what you guys think and your strategies for psychology. All right, thanks guys. 3zinferno signing out.